starting a rookie or young quarterback isn't always the right call. As much as media and fans will always gravitate towards that because it's the thought and the appeal of the unknown, the upside, and the potential, that doesn't automatically mean it's the right call to make. Sometimes you get into situations where there is an established veteran that you have a track record with of them winning games, but you bring in the young quarterback because they've got so much upside that long term, you're trying to think about the health of the organization the next 5 or 10 or 15 seasons. It makes sense potentially not to start the rookie quarterback even if you've taken him in round number 1. And a lot of people will point to a situation like the Chiefs trading up to draft Patrick Mahomes in 2017. You had Alex Smith. They started Alex Smith that whole season. Arguably got his best season of his career because he knew Patrick Mahomes was chasing him. But after that season, knowing that Alex Smith was not going to be that dude that took you to that next level, they let the Redskins overpay for him. Let them do it. But it made sense then to let Mahomes sit back and watch for a year. Now, if they didn't have that, then it totally would have made sense for Patrick Mahomes to play day 1 and learn on the job. This is just like in the real world. At the end of the day, no matter how great your training program is, your training infrastructure is at the company, no matter how great the trainers are, no matter how great the training material is, there is nothing, and I emphasize again, nothing that can substitute for hands-on, real-world, on-the-job experience as the best form of training that you can get. And there are 2 opinions on this. The real world's opinion on it, which is right, and the NFL opinion on it, which is wrong. Well, guys are better off sitting and watching and learning. No, at some point in time, they have to get in there and learn, you idiots. That's the only way you're going to truly find out. They could be a classroom and freaking whiteboard warrior and then get out on the field and none of it matters. They freeze up or they just don't have it. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes it makes sense to not start the young or rookie quarterback. However, the Miami Dolphins are not in one of those situations. So you can imagine my surprise, but also maybe lack of surprise, that they made the announcement that they're going to be starting FitzMagic in week 1 over Josh Rosen. This is just mind-numbingly dumb on a variety of different levels. Mind-numbingly dumb on a variety of different levels. This goes back to the Jaguars. I can think of another situation in 2014. They didn't start Blake Bortles right away, and you might say, well, that's not the best example because he was tits. Well, Chad Henne was tits too. And the point is, if they're both tits, at least go with the younger guy that you've invested the 3rd overall pick on right away to see what the hell you've got or not. Not wait a little bit and then eventually go to him. That's stupid. That's what stupid coaches, stupid organizations do. But now you got a new head coach who clearly is in a panic mode, trying to sit there and validate himself, feels the pressure of having to win right away, all the while being a part of an organization that I think everybody clearly understands that this is all about the long-term play here, isn't it? Like, nobody actually thinks the Dolphins are trying to win this year, do they? Does anybody really think the Dolphins are doing anything other than trying to tank in 2019? And get themselves a high pick in 2020? I mean, realistically, even if you're a Dolphins fan, I think a lot of Dolphins fans can see this writing on the wall. Like, it is so blatantly, glaringly obvious. But yet you play the journeyman quarterback that's in his mid-30s over the guy that you just gave up a 2nd-round pick in Josh Rosen, who's entering only year 2 in the league. I'm going to emphasize this again. One of the big moves you made in the draft was to give up a 2nd-round pick to the Cardinals to bring in Josh Rosen, a guy who had been drafted the previous year 10th overall. And now you have brought him in to a new system, just like Fitzpatrick was brought into a new system. And you're going to start the journeyman over the 2nd-year guy. Who the hell does this? Now, it was one thing if you could sit there and say that Ryan Fitzpatrick was at an entirely different level than Josh Rosen, but you can't. if you were going to sit there and say that Ryan Fitzpatrick was significantly better in the preseason, it was so clear and obvious that he gives that team clearly the best chance to win, that's one thing. But can you really, truly say that? And all the while, why in the hell would you be trying to win games if you believe that Fitzpatrick makes you that much better and gives you that much better of a chance to win when you were clearly in tank mode in 2019, trying to get a top 5 pick to potentially take a quarterback in 2020? What the hell is going on here? You went and made the move for Josh Rosen. It's one of those types of deals where you can sit there and say to yourself, if it doesn't work out, it cost you a second-round pick, but in theory, did it really cost you a second-round pick because you moved down from where you were originally drafted and got a second-round pick in next year's draft? Like you were playing with house money at this point. But now that you have made the move for him, you need to find out what you've got. You need to find out what you have or what you don't have. That's what you've got to do. Not starting another version of Jay freaking Fiedler. Like, this is so ridiculous. When you've got two guys that are similar levels in terms of performance and where they're at, always go with the younger guy because there's more upside and there's more potential. And Fitzpatrick is one of those guys that in garbage time, he puts up big fantasy numbers. He might have those occasional games where he looks spectacular. And then you got other games he throws 3 or 4 interceptions and you get a reminder of, oh yeah, that's why he's never been a long-term starter for anybody in the National Football League. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the type of guy that you bring in if you're the Dolphins and you say, okay, if Josh Rosen completely craps the bed or if Josh Rosen gets hurt, then we actually feel like, unlike a lot of teams, we've got a pretty good backup quarterback situation. Or you hang on to Ryan Fitzpatrick, and you might be able to deal him before the trade deadline because who knows what team is going to lose their starting quarterback that's going to be desperate for a dude, and you can win a couple of games in the NFL with Ryan Fitzpatrick. But it shouldn't be about that for the Miami Dolphins, trying to win a couple of games with Ryan Fitzpatrick. This should be total talent evaluation mode for 2019, trying to figure out what the hell you have in Josh Rosen. Imagine how idiotic and stupid you are going to look if Fitzpatrick starts 8, 10, or 12 games this season. You win a few games with him, cost yourself a top 3 or top 5 pick where you can get your hands on potentially a better quarterback prospect than what was available in this 2019 class. And all the while, you still haven't found out what the hell you got in Josh Rosen. How does this make any damn sense whatsoever? Play the kid, find out what he has. Worst case, he craps the bed, and then you bring in FitzMagic, or you trade FitzMagic for a freaking somewhat premium draft pick. Maybe you get a 3rd or 4th rounder for him because the team's desperate enough, or God only knows. The Texans just dropped Trout and gave up Clowney for basically peanuts. You never freaking know in today's NFL. But you're going to start FitzMagic. This just runs counterintuitive to what everybody is envisioning the Miami Dolphins are trying to do. And sensibly, this is running counterintuitive to everything the Miami Dolphins are clearly wanting to do. This is not just about media reports. This is about actions. It's about what you see. Everything you're indicating is for a team that has no real identity, no real marquee star power. You need to find out if the young quarterback you just got could be that dude or not. Because if he is, you could go into that 2020 draft and find a difference maker on either side of the ball, and you can start building something. And if he's not, you can go into that 2020 draft knowing that you got to go get a quarterback so that way you have something. You're not going to find that out by Josh Rosen sitting on the bench unless you are already telling me that you know he's not the guy. Then in that case, how stupid do you look for giving up a 2nd-round pick for him to begin with? Every snap, every start, every game that Ryan Fitzpatrick plays for the Miami Dolphins in 2019 that isn't due to Josh Rosen being injured or completely ineffective is a wasted opportunity. You do not want to waste opportunities. It sure looks like the Dolphins are wasting an opportunity here. You gotta find out what the kid has. This is stupid.